Morning Glory America, Bonjour, hi Canada. I'm Hugh Hewitt live in Studio West. Overnight, Senator John Fetterman in Pennsylvania hospitalized. No sign of a new stroke, just feeling lightheaded. He is reportedly fine. I'm joined by one of his colleagues, Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. Good morning, Senator. Welcome back.
Well, it is good to be with you. Thank you.
Now, Senator, I know Tennessee doesn't have many natural disasters. I mean, John Schroeder moved there. That's kind of a natural disaster. But you don't have earthquake faults in Tennessee, right? You get tornadoes occasionally, but you don't get earthquakes.
No, we do not. But there is a fault line that runs close to Memphis and the Mississippi River.
Oh, they did have the big 1808. They did have the big Mississippi River quake back in 1800 sometime. I remember
correct.
that. So, Senator, let me do politics with you for a moment. I'm raising money for Turkish relief. I've never seen anything like this. Have you? Have you ever seen 60,000 buildings fall down before?
It is astounding what has happened, and I think for all of these individuals, we just, it is devastating and it is heart-wrenching when you hear some of the stories and you see the pictures of this. So I think it's wonderful that you've taken this on as a task and supporting them and helping them and trying to get resources to them.
Well, Food for the Poor is just, they're a fabulous organization to work with. Let me do a little politics with you. The president is flying to Tampa, Florida today in order to denounce Republicans' attempt to cut Medicare and Social Security. He's going to read a few random quotes from a few random Republicans who said at some point that, eventually we have to look. Like I occasionally tell people we got to raise the retirement age to 68 and keep raising it because we're all going to work longer. And there are other minor changes around the edges that will not apply to seniors or eligibles right now. I say that every day. But there is no plan to touch Medicare or Social Security. So basically the president is lying to everyone about everything. Am I right?
Well, the president is certainly not being truthful when it comes to comments about Social Security and Medicare. And the video of him from the 90s where he was proposing to make cuts into benefits is certainly circulating. And indeed, we know that the president has proposed cutting back Medicare Advantage, which allows seniors to have more control over their Medicare plans and the services that they choose to receive. And I think it is important to note that there is no Republican that I am aware of that has proposed cutting the benefits to recipients of Medicare and Social Security. And every proposal that has come along, there is no one that has proposed cutting those benefits. But what the president is doing is trying to pull a thread and go out there and say, this is what they want to do. And it is just factually incorrect.
Now, Senator, you were in the chamber, I assume, on Tuesday night for the State of the Union. I was with former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo at the Nixon Library. He was talking about his book, Never Give an Inch. So I didn't get a lot of the live shots, but I'm astonished by what I heard. A lot of it was rambling, but the kind of stuff he said, it was maybe the most partisan State of the Union I've heard, but the speaker stayed calm. What did you make of it?
I think that it was a lot of big government takeover talk. He used the phrase repeatedly that we have to finish the job and never again will we let companies do this. And he didn't take time to talk about cost of living or the border or the China balloon or the Chinese Communist Party. He touched on fentanyl, but what he did do was talk about junk fees. He talked about non-compete clauses, things that Tennesseans listened to that view, and so many people that came back to us said, what in the world was he thinking?
That hotel fee, I had just come from where the Republican National Committee had their winter meeting. I went down and spent a night there. And of course, they're at luxury hotels or big hotels, they attach a hotel resort fee, which is just a way to hit you. And sure, I'm part of the 0.1% that pays a hotel fee like that, because most people are staying at Motel 6. And he devoted the State of the Union to that, Senator. He's just not serious. I don't think this is a serious administration.
Well, people were just astounded. You know, he didn't talk about inflation. He didn't talk about the economy. He didn't talk about, and, you know, when you have the Washington Post and different publications going back and correcting and saying, well, you know, he overstated this, or he embellished this, or this was inaccurate. If people wanted to know what he was going to do about inflation and about the border and about the cost of living and about drugs and what he's going to do about the Chinese Communist Party. Those are things they wanted to hear from him on, because he was giving this speech at a time when you've got about 2/3 of the country that think we're on the wrong track and things are not going well, and they are struggling to make ends meet. And you get this inaccurate happy talk from the president, and he's up there talking about junk fees and non-compete clauses.
Yeah, Senator Blackburn, I'm a Republican, so I hope the Democrats nominate the octogenarian Joe Biden. I can't imagine they're going to do it, but a lot of people interpreted the speech as step one in the reelection campaign of Joe Biden. Is that how you interpreted it? And if so, I'm in Switzerland when it comes to whoever our nominee is. I'll support whoever the nominee is, but I'm just praying they nominate Joe Biden.
And people did look at this as the kickoff of a campaign speech because of the phrasing that he used. Let's finish the job. And what many Tennesseans interpreted that finish the job to be is they want another term of Barack Obama, because Obama wanted to radically transform the country. That was one of their goals. They didn't get there. They thought it would be the third term of Obama with Hillary Clinton. They didn't get it. So now that they have Joe Biden, and you have those that were around Obama making the decisions for Joe Biden and trying to put this country on a path that you and I don't agree with, they're looking for another term. Now, this suits them just fine, that you have someone who is not calling the shots.
You know, I agree with that. I think Team Obama was mediocre, that had great press. Joe Biden is even more mediocre, but it doesn't get great press. It's not a great time to be a Democrat. Your friend, they held on to the Senate barely. We'll get it back in 2024, given the map. But they can't be happy to be Democrats right now. It's a mess.
Well, I think, Hugh, that when they go home, they have a difficult time explaining why they're making the decisions that they are making. And when you go to the grocery store and the price of groceries are 13% more than they were a year ago, when the average family has spent an additional $10,000 paying out-of-pocket cost since Joe Biden went into the White House, people are saying this is just not working well for me.
Last question, Senator Blackburn. Yesterday, the House had its first Twitter hearing, and the former Twitter executives did not look good. Is that going to come before any committee of which you're a part of the Judiciary going to deal with this?
Last Congress, Senator Blumenthal and I, on a bipartisan basis, had these social media platforms before us 5 different times. And I anticipate that this year we will, at Consumer Protection Subcommittee there at Commerce, we will have them back before us, and all of your listeners can follow the work I'm doing on reining in big tech at my website, blackburn.senate.gov, or on social media at Marsha Blackburn.
Keep going, Senator, because, boy, do they need oversight. I appreciate it very, very much.